Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored, Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. It is the 26th of November, 2017, and as we've been covering the last couple of weeks, I am now here in the Netiv Avot neighborhood of Elazar, where I live, and this March, 15 homes of the neighborhood are slated for demolition. We've been covering, as I said, this story extensively throughout this time period, and I'm here with one of the residents here in Netiv Avot. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
I'm David Anhaya, living in Netiv Avot for the last 14 years.
And your house is one of the homes slated for demolition on the order of the High Court this coming March.
That's correct. My house should be destructed in March. And this evening there are now, I would say, approaching hundreds of residents here of Elazar and Gush and all over who are showing their support for the residents of Netiv Avot. What can you tell us? What's going through your mind here? We're several months before the possible destruction of your home, God forbid, in this area. What's going through your mind this evening as we see hundreds gathered here in support of you and the other 14 families? No, it's very supporting that people are coming, but we are gathering here together in order to ask Bibi, Netanyahu, and Naftali Bennett to find a solution for these 15 houses, for the 15 families which will be homeless within another 4 months.
And are you optimistic? What's the mood of the residents here? The Bagatz has issued their decree, which I and many others believe is completely absurd. What's the mood? How are you feeling? Optimistic? Hopeful?
At this moment, there's no optimism at this moment. For more than 1 year, we are speaking with the government, with Shaket, with Bennett, with Bibi, in order to find solutions, and there are no solution yet. And therefore, from this point, we will struggle in order to find a solution. And we're starting with the carpentry of the workshop of Tzvi, which has to be destroyed this week, and we will do everything possible to prevent from this happening.
And in your case, we're talking about your house in particular. They're talking about just a meter here and a meter there, which is questionable, and I put that in quotation marks because there is no proof of ownership of any Arab owning the land. And instead of saying, okay, and the residents, including yourself, have said, we will shave off of our own homes a sliver, the meter that you say is questionable, yet the government says, no, the whole house has to go. Explain this absurdity.
No, you can't explain the absurdity. My house is 180 square meters, and 1 meter, the corner of my daughter's bedroom, is so-called private property, and I say so-called because no one has proven ownership on that property. And we came to court and we said we are willing to cut off this meter just to prove that the house will be okay. And the answer was no, you have to destruct the entire house.
It's absurd, and we're going to interview more people here this evening, including MKs and those who are here showing their support. David, thanks so much for joining us here, and let's hope for good news. Let's hope that this absurdity ends tonight, and let's hope this doesn't come to fruition, and the 15 families here in Elazar and Netiv Avot will be able to stay in their homes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Again, Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored, Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. I didn't give much of an introduction. We went right to it. I'm here in the Yeshuv of Elazar in the Netiv Avot neighborhood. 15 homes slated for demolition. And we're going to be trying to get in touch with as many people as possible. There are members of Knesset here. There's ministers in the government. We'll try to reach them. Don't forget, you can get in touch with me during the week. Josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, Joshua Hasten. And on Twitter, at Josh Hasten. And here we go. We're going to try to speak to as many people as we can here for tonight's broadcast.
Go ahead.
Minister Naftali Bennett, can you just summarize your statements that you just gave tonight here in front of all these people?
This destruction makes absolutely no sense. I call on the Prime Minister. He said once that when he has strong will, he can achieve anything. I call on the Prime Minister to do everything in his ability to save Netiv Avot. This is our home. This is our land. There's absolutely no reason to see this destruction.
Great. Thank you so much.
You take care.
That was Education Minister Naftali Bennett. He just spoke in detail here in Hebrew. That was a brief summary in English. That's as best as we can do here. It's not that easy to get a minister of the government here who's already back in his car and on his way to his next stop. So, as he said, There's no reason to take down these homes. It's completely unnecessary. And hopefully he's right. Hopefully it won't happen. We're going to move on now.
I believe that the politicians don't really want to help those people. I think this situation that we are into right now, it just shows us what's the future's waiting, what future waiting for us. The fact is that this is not a right government. The fact is that this government doesn't care to destroy the Judah and Shomeria settlement. This government only care about settle the chair, sit on her chair. I hope so that the politician will be smart enough and brave enough deeply to themselves to what they promised to those people to really do. And together, if we will united, we can fix it.
And so you're optimistic then that there can be a solution, that we can prevent the destruction of the home?
Of course. There is solutions. There is always solution. After all, we are the public messengers. The public chose us. The people chose us to lead them. And we decide. If you separate the authorities, you know that the politician, if they will stand behind the word, you can solve everything.
Thank you so much for your time. Toda rabba.
Welcome. And I wish all the best.
Thank you. We're now here with Uri Bank, councilman for the Moatzah, for the municipality of Gush Etzion. He represents Netiv Avot. He's come here to show his support for the residents of Netiv Avot this evening. And for those of you who remember, I've had him on my show in different capacities in the past. Thanks very much for joining us here. Israel Uncensored, Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Just from your perspective and what you've heard this evening from the various MKs and ministers who we recorded already previously, and if you missed any part of the show, go back and listen. What's your take on this evening's event and the overall situation in regard to the 15 homes plus 2 other structures slated for demolition here in Elazar's Netiv Avot neighborhood?
I'm not hearing what I want to hear, which is we have a solution that will eliminate the need for this demolition. The people that are coming to speak are very sympathetic with the people that live here in Netiv Avot, but they don't have solutions to the problem. And that's what's so disappointing, because it's such a travesty when it comes to justice for anybody who's building a home in Judea and Samaria, anybody who believes that this area belongs to the Jewish state, belongs to the Jewish people, that if there is anything that has to do with private Arab land here, it's very minimal and minuscule. And in any other part of Israel, if that was the case, they would just do some kind of land swap or some kind of compensation that would be given to the Arab that claims that it's private land. Nowhere else in the country would they go and demolish and evacuate 15 families who have built their lives in those homes for so many years without the government of Israel ever saying that they're doing anything wrong. So this is really a travesty. It's the opposite of Zionism. It's anti-Zionism what's going on here. It should have stopped before this last time it's ever going to happen because of the Supreme Court. We've had enough last times.
Yeah, and what bothers me is that in addition to what's going on here tonight, I mean, you have the regulation law which was passed by the Knesset, but you already have 20, 30, I don't know how many petitions against that law, which the Supreme Court are slated to hear. And who knows, they may turn around and override the regulation law, which would essentially put another 4,000 structures and homes in Judea and Samaria in peril. I mean, what's your reaction to the potential of that happening as well?
The problem is that the buck doesn't stop anywhere here. And truly, Prime Minister Netanyahu should have said, at least about Netiv Avot, where we're standing, the buck stops here. And we're going to pass the laws, and we're going to, if the Supreme Court tries to to circumvent the Knesset, will then pass the needed regulations that will not allow the Supreme Court to overrule the Knesset, which would have never been the case if there was a true separation of powers in Israel. It's just a question of what Netanyahu wants. And never, never has Netanyahu said, enough to the Supreme Court. There is a division of powers. We are the elected government of the State of Israel, and your job is to be the Supreme Court who then defines what the rules and regulations that we've passed in the Knesset, but not to try to replace the government, which in effect is what the Supreme Court is doing in this case and others throughout Judea and Samaria.
I'm going to agree with you there. I think the government of the State of Israel once and for all has to step up and make that distinction of separation of powers, and we cannot have these situations time and time again where the Supreme Court overrules the law of the land. Uri Bank, council member of the Gush Etzion region representing Netiv Avot. I want to thank you for your time, and also thank you so much for your support coming out on this rainy night here in the Gush to show your solidarity with the people of Netiv Avot. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Josh, for having me, and hopefully this will be the last evacuation from any part of Judea and Samaria.
Amen to that.
We are still here in the Netiv Avot neighborhood. The speakers are still up on stage. MK Batalo Smotrich just spoke, and we had a few others. And if you missed any of the other interviews, go back and listen. We're now here with one of the Netiv Avot residents. Introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Ronen. I'm living over here in the last 16 years. And good evening.
So if you can, we'll just back away from the audio just for a second. From the speakers, what is your take on? Obviously, you're against the unnecessary destruction of 15 homes and 2 other structures here in Netiv Avot, but we can't just tell us what the mood is here in this neighborhood now, these days.
Actually, right now we are very, very depressed, but we are very, very. In addition to the depressing that we're having, that we cannot find a solution, we are really looking for the politicians, especially the one who arrived over here tonight, that they will find us a solution. And we know that they're having a solution to this problem.
And tell us, what in your mind, what would be a solution? You had different politicians from different parties all giving their opinions on, what potentially could happen, some less optimistic saying it's a done deal, God forbid the destruction of these homes. I mean, what is the solution in your mind?
In my mind, and just in my mind, I think that the solution is actually to recognize that this area is actually part of Israel. And this is the only way, politically and also practically, the only way to recognize that this place is part of Israel. And if we will know that there is no difference between here and Gilo and Ramot and Tel Aviv and Ramat Gan, this will bring the solution, 100%.
Our neighbors, actually, if you listen to what they're saying, and I'm talking about the Arabs, some people refer to them as Palestinians. I don't really use that word on the show, but they are saying that all the areas, whether you're talking about Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, Akko, Ashdod, they are saying that they're all the same. They don't differentiate between any of the areas. In other words, if you go into the Mukata compound and you see Mahmoud Abbas's map on the wall, his map says Palestine, and it covers all of the state of Israel, including Judea, Samaria, Tel Aviv, Akko, Haifa, and all the other cities. So why can't we also realize that this is what they're saying, this is what they want, and that's what this is all about?
I think that first we can learn exactly about this topic from our neighbors. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that there is enough people and even politicians in our side who are actually not believing that there is a difference. And I really hope so that tonight the change will start, because we will need the vote, we will need the fingers of the politicians, especially the one who arrived over here tonight, to be with us. And on the day that the politicians will understand it, also the court will understand it, because the same situations that happen over here, happening in other places in the land of Israel, and we're seeing that the court of Israel, the Supreme Court of Israel, is reacting totally different to the same exactly problem in a different place. Here, they are deciding to destroy the homes, and other places they are decided not to destroy the homes. We're just looking for an equal judgment.
Well, Ronen, it certainly is a depressing reality here, and I don't know what we can hope for. We can hope for perhaps the government getting involved and overturning somehow the Supreme Court. I mean, I don't know at this point. Maybe that's a reality. Some of the people who I spoke with earlier this evening said that it's a done deal. Hopefully it's not a done deal, and hopefully that, despite what we saw in other communities, whether it's Gush Katif or in Migron or in Amona or Afra or any other communities, and each situation is unique. Hopefully there is hope, and the judgment against this area, in other words, 15 homes and 2 other structures slated for demolition, will be overturned. So hopefully that'll be the case.
Thank you very, very much.
That's Ronen Malik here, one of the residents of the Netiv Avot neighborhood. Thank you so much for your time.
You're really welcome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from government ministers, Naftali Bennett, you heard from MKs, from Oren Hazen, you heard from residents of the area and others here this evening. And unfortunately, these 15 homes and 2 other structures are still on the chopping block. If you want to stay informed about the situation, number one, listen to the show. Listen to the other shows here in the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. I've covered it a few times. Check out on Facebook and social media, #17homes. Again, hashtag 17 homes. That's the best way to find out everything going on in this neighborhood in terms of the different events taking place, like tonight's rally and any other activities by the families who are simply trying to save their homes. Again, the absurdity of 1 or 2 meters of a house being questionable, not even private property, not even proven in any court of justice that this was private property, this is private property, yet even if 1 or 2 meters is questionable, the whole house is being destroyed. That is the case for many of the homes here in the Netiv Avot neighborhood of Elazar. Let's pray that it doesn't happen, that there is some justice and some common sense to thwart what is truly, truly an absurd plan. I've dedicated several shows to this topic. This is something dear to me, dear to my heart, because these are actually my neighbors who I see each and every day. It's happening here in Elazar, in my home community, in my neighborhood. And I have no problem dedicating other shows to this, as long as it raises awareness and gets people moving. Send a letter to the Prime Minister. Send a letter to the other ministers. Send a letter to the MKs. Get the word out. Let people know that in Judea, Israel. Remember, Judea, we are Jews from Judea. They are going to potentially destroy unnecessarily, instead of finding other solutions, unnecessarily destroy 17 homes, structures here, and unfortunately in the land of Israel. That's all the time we have for today. Get in touch with me during the week. Josh at thelandofisrael.com is my email. On Facebook, it's Joshua Hasten, and on Twitter, at Josh Hasten. And it is a cold and rainy night here in Gush Etzion. Those who know me know I love the winter, and we need all the rain that we can get here. So let it continue to rain. Let it continue to rain all winter long. I love the rain, I love the cold. But let's hear some better news, and please God, things will go well for the Netiv Avot residents. I am out, most importantly, between now and when we speak again next Monday. Everyone out there, be safe. Shalom, shalom from Gush Etzion, Israel.